Assalamu alaikum. Today on Noran Academy, we discuss the legacy of Al-Khwarizmi. If you benefit, please support by subscribing and sharing as a sadaqah. We're about to uncover the incredible story of a Muslim scholar whose work, from over 1,000 years ago, literally built the foundations of the world we live in today.
Just think about the language that runs our modern world. It's the language of numbers, of logic, of calculation. Every single time you solve an equation, whether it's for school, for work, for anything,
you are tapping directly into a legacy left by a brilliant Muslim scholar. And this isn't just some dusty historical fact. It's a living, breathing connection. The logic that powers our most advanced technology has deep roots stretching back through centuries of Islamic scholarship. Now, to really appreciate the scale of this contribution, we have to kind of step back in time. Our world runs on precision, on calculation. But there was an age when mathematics, for most practical purposes, was just chaos. It was a world desperately waiting for a system to bring it some order.
I mean, before the ideas we're about to get into, so many parts of life were completely held back. Can you imagine trying to run a complex business without being able to calculate for missing goods or profits? Or trying to build magnificent structures when your engineering was stuck with basic arithmetic? People could count what they had, sure, but they really struggled to solve for what they didn't have, the great unknown.
And then, into this chaotic world, steps the scholar who would change everything. A brilliant mind from the very heart of the Islamic Golden Age, Muhammad ibn Musa Al-Khwarizmi. This was the man who was about to give the world an entirely new way to think.
See, Al-Khwarizmi was a scholar at the legendary House of Wisdom in Baghdad. This place was a global hub for learning, gathering texts from Greece, India, all over. But his genius wasn't just in translating. No, he took all this knowledge and he synthesized it, refined it, and organized it with one clear goal in mind: to make it useful for everyone.
And this quote, it perfectly captures his entire mission. This isn't some academic floating in a world of abstract theory. This is the guiding principle of a man who saw knowledge as a service, as a tool to bring clarity and justice to real people in the real world. This was his faith in action, knowledge for humanity, not for ego.
So, this very practical mission is what led him to his most revolutionary idea. He developed a systematic way to find answers even when you don't have all the information, and this was the birth of Algebra. He wrote this groundbreaking book explaining his method, which he called Algebra. The word itself literally means restoration or completion, and from that one Arabic word, we get our modern word algebra. The concept was so simple, yet so powerful. You can systematically work with an equation to find a value that was hidden. And this simple, elegant procedure just changed everything. You start with a problem that has an unknown piece. Then, through a process of restoring and moving things around, you isolate that unknown part, all while keeping both sides of the equation perfectly balanced. And just like that, the unknown is revealed. It was a reliable, repeatable method for finding the truth.
The impact was, well, immediate and totally transformative. With this new tool, architecture could suddenly become more ambitious, more precise. Engineering could solve incredibly complex problems. Science was given a brand new language to describe the laws of the universe. Algebra basically gave civilization a way to scale up its biggest dreams.
But Al-Khwarizmi's legacy doesn't stop with big buildings and science. In fact, it's echoing even louder right now, in our time, through a hidden connection that is literally powering the device you're watching this on.
Here's a fact that is truly mind-blowing for a lot of people. The word algorithm, the set of rules a computer follows to do anything, is just a Latin version of his name, Al-Khwarizmi. His whole way of thinking, that logical sequence of steps to solve a problem, well, that's the very soul of every algorithm. Just let that sink in for a moment. For 1,200 years, his intellectual framework hasn't just survived, it has become more essential than ever before. This isn't a relic of the past, it is the engine of our future. A Muslim scholar's systematic way of thinking provides the core logic for our entire digital world. Every computer processing data, every app on your phone, every single AI system that's learning and adapting, they are all at their heart, running on the principles of the algorithm, the legacy of Al-Khwarizmi.
So you have to ask, what was it that drove him to chase this knowledge with so much dedication? Why this obsession with precision and order?
Well, the answer wasn't just intellectual curiosity, it was deeply rooted in his spiritual worldview.
You see, for Al-Khwarizmi, math wasn't just a bunch of cold, abstract numbers. It was a divine tool. It was a way to establish justice in inheritance law, a way to serve society through fair trade, and it was a path to truly appreciate the perfect balance and precision with which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the entire universe. For him, achieving mathematical clarity was an act of worship.
And this brings us to this beautiful Islamic ideal of integrated knowledge. See, knowledge without a moral compass can easily become a tool for exploitation. And on the flip side, faith without practical skill can lead to stagnation. Islam demands both, and Al-Khwarizmi is maybe the ultimate proof that when faith guides a truly disciplined mind, the world can be changed for the better in incredible ways.
And that brings us to today. Because this history, it's not just something for us to admire from a distance. It's a legacy to be inherited. And that poses a direct challenge to the next generation.
You are living in an age that is completely defined by technology, by artificial intelligence, data science, and innovation. Don't ever let anyone tell you that these fields are somehow foreign to our tradition. Your intellectual ancestors laid the very foundations that all of this is built on.
This legacy has always been ours. And how did they do it? Well, they didn't wait for permission or for someone else to validate their work. They dedicated themselves to study. They disciplined their minds to achieve excellence. And through all of it, they placed their ultimate trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So we're going to end with this question for you to really reflect on. If they, with the tools they had back then, could lay the groundwork for our entire modern world, what will you, with all the knowledge and technology you have at your fingertips, what will you build now? Presented and created by Norin Studio.